Do you keep dating the same type of person? Everything about this question is covered in today's video. Let's dive in. Welcome to Cheap Talk, where we dive deep into life's little mysteries. Ever feel like you're dating the same person over and over again, even though they look different? It's like Groundhog Day, the relationship edition. So why do we fall into these patterns?
It's such a common experience. I've absolutely been there, and I've heard countless friends say the same thing, complaining about the same issues with different partners. It's fascinating and a little frustrating, right?
Totally. And there's actual science behind it. This article we're looking at talks about an 8-year study. They tracked people's partners over time, and guess what? There were striking similarities in personality between the different partners of the same person.
So it's not just our imagination, there's data to back up this dating the same person phenomenon. Wow.
Yep. And it makes you wonder, right? Like, what's really going on here? Is it subconscious? Are we drawn to familiar patterns, even if those patterns aren't necessarily healthy for us?
Exactly. And the article points out that it's a mix of our choices and our past experiences. I mean, we tend to gravitate towards people in similar environments, right? Birds of a feather and all that.
Yeah, but it's more than that. The article mentions how our own traits can attract certain types of people. Like, if you're easygoing, you might attract someone who's a little more controlling.
Ooh, interesting. So it's not always a conscious choice. We're sending out signals, and certain people are picking up on those signals.
Exactly. And then there's the whole first love effect. Apparently, we can form associations between our early relationships and specific traits or behaviors.
Right. Like if your first love always brought you flowers, you might subconsciously be drawn to anyone who makes similar romantic gestures. It's like a conditioned response almost.
Yeah? And hold on, it gets even deeper. They even talk about how our parents, especially our opposite sex parent, can influence who we choose. If you had a positive relationship with your dad, you might be drawn to partners who share similar traits. Hmm.
Wow. So it's a complex cocktail of nature and nurture. Our own choices, our past experiences, our family dynamics, it all plays a role.
Absolutely. But, and this is a big but, it's not all destiny. We can break these patterns. The article suggests examining past relationships, figuring out what you really need, and, stepping outside your comfort zone.
It's like rewiring your dating GPS, right? Identifying those destinations you keep ending up at and figuring out a new route. If you're enjoying our insightful banter and down-to-earth takes on life's curveballs, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're here to help you navigate the messy, beautiful, and sometimes confusing world of relationships, one cheap talk at a time.
Okay, so picking up on this whole dating the same person idea, this article dives into some really interesting points. It's not just about where we're meeting people, but also like who we are as individuals.
Right? It's like our personality shapes the environments we choose, which in turn influences who we meet. So if you're a gym rat, you're more likely to meet other fitness enthusiasts. Makes sense.
Totally. Birds of a feather flock together, right? But it goes even deeper than that. The article talks about how our own traits can actually attract certain types of people.
Oh, like how?
Well, say you're super easygoing, you might unintentionally attract someone who's more a dominant, maybe even controlling, because they see you as someone who's, well, easy to be with, maybe even a pushover.
Ooh, that's a bit unsettling. So it's not always a conscious choice. We're putting out these vibes, and certain people are tuned into those frequencies, for better or worse. If you're vibing with our relatable take on relationships, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're dishing out the real talk on love, life, and everything in between.
Exactly. And it's not always about negative traits attracting negative people. The article mentions how we seek out what we need in others. Sometimes, if you're someone who craves excitement, you might be drawn to more tumultuous or unpredictable personalities. Like Carrie and Mr. Big in Sex and the City. That push and pull, the drama, some people thrive on that.
Yeah. That constant back and forth, it's like they need that intensity to feel alive, I guess, even if it's not necessarily healthy. It's fascinating, isn't it? How we're drawn to what we think we need, even if it's not what we actually need. It's like our own personal relationship puzzle.
It's so weird how sometimes you meet someone new and the sparks just fly, right? But then you realize they're kind of similar to someone you've dated before.
Oh my gosh, totally. It's like, haven't I been here before? It's almost spooky sometimes how these patterns repeat themselves.
Right. And this article dives into why that happens. It talks about how it's kind of like a conditioned response. Like, remember Pavlov's dogs? They learn to associate a bell with food.
Yeah. So are you saying we're like Pavlov's daters?
Exactly. This article talks about a study with mice. They paired a scent with a reward for the male mice. And eventually, the scent alone triggered the same response as the reward.
Oh, interesting. So, like, the scent became a shortcut to the good feelings, even without the actual reward?
Precisely. And apparently, this applies to humans too. It's like if you have amazing chemistry with someone and they wear a certain cologne, later on, you get a whiff of that cologne and you're taken right back to all those feelings.
Wow. So it's not necessarily the person we're attracted to, but the associations we have with them. It's like a memory trigger?
Exactly. The article uses a really cool example. Say your first love always used to bend down and tie your shoelaces. Sweet, right?
Yeah? Super sweet.
Well, if you meet someone else who does the same thing, you might automatically feel those same butterflies, even if it's not really about them. It's just that action triggers the memories and feelings associated with your first love.
Ooh, that's deep. So we're kind of chasing ghosts in a way, trying to recreate that initial spark, even if it's with the wrong person. And if you're finding this as mind blowing as we are, hit that subscribe button. We're unraveling the mysteries of love, one podcast at a time.
So we've talked about how our own personalities and past experiences can influence who we're drawn to, right? But get this, our family dynamics, especially our relationship with our opposite sex parent, plays a huge role too.
Oh, really? Tell me more. Like, how so?
Well, this article talks about how our parents, specifically our opposite sex parents, can be like a template for our future relationships. It's particularly relevant for women and their relationship with their fathers. It's like he's the first male figure in their life, shaping their perception of men and relationships in general.
That makes sense. So if you had a great relationship with your dad, you might subconsciously look for similar qualities in a partner?
Exactly. And there's actual research to back this up. One study found that, get this, daughters often choose partners with similar facial features to their fathers. Isn't that wild?
Whoa. So it's not just a feeling, there's like scientific evidence? Fascinating.
Yeah, and it goes deeper than looks. The study also found that those with positive relationships with their dads were more likely to choose partners who resembled their fathers in terms of, personality and behavior. It's like they're trying to recreate that sense of comfort and familiarity.
I see. So in a way, it's about seeking what's familiar, what feels safe.
Totally. They might believe that choosing someone like their father will guarantee the same happiness they experienced in their childhood. It's kind of like a subconscious blueprint for love.
And what about those who actively avoid partners resembling their fathers?
Right. The article addresses that too. It suggests that maybe those individuals didn't have the most supportive or loving relationship with their fathers, so they might be subconsciously avoiding those same traits in a partner. If you're digging this deep dive into relationship dynamics, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just scratching the surface here, yeah? So it's a complicated mix of factors, right? Personality, experiences, family dynamics, all these ingredients go into the recipe for who we choose.
Absolutely. It's not as simple as opposites attract or birds of a feather flock together. There's a lot more going on under the surface.
It's true. And hold on, the article even uses an example from Friends. Remember Monica? Her two main love interests, Richard and Chandler, were both funny guys.
Oh, yeah? That's a good point. They were both pretty witty and humorous, despite being different in other ways.
Right? So it illustrates how we might be drawn to a certain type, even if it's not always obvious. And all this ties into how our personality and experiences interact to shape our relationships.
Totally. It's like our own personal rom-com with recurring characters and familiar plot lines.
Ha, exactly. But not all these similar attractions lead to happily ever after, right? The article talks about something called compulsive repetition.
Ooh, what's that?
It's when we keep recreating the same scenarios, even if they're painful, to re-experience certain emotions. Like if your first relationship ended badly because of, say, jealousy issues, you might subconsciously seek out partners who trigger those same feelings.
Oh, wow. So it's like we're stuck in a loop almost?
Yeah, a relationship Groundhog Day. And it can be really tough to break free. The article acknowledges how frustrating this can be, especially when you keep ending up with the same type of person and the relationship keeps ending the same way.
Right? It's like you're playing the same sad song on repeat. So how do you break the cycle? Is there a way out?
Well, the article offers some suggestions, like really examining past relationships to understand the patterns, figuring out what you truly need in a partner, and stepping outside your comfort zone. It's like rewiring your internal dating GPS.
Rewiring your dating GPS. I love that. It's about identifying those destinations you keep ending up at and charting a new course. If you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. We're all in this messy world of relationships together.
So you know how we keep talking about dating the same person over and over again? Well, this article has some really practical tips on how to break free from that cycle. First up, it suggests really taking a deep dive into your past relationships, like a real postmortem.
Ooh, a relationship autopsy? Sounds intense. What kind of things should we be looking for?
Well, it's all about identifying patterns. Think about the people you've been drawn to. What common threads run through those relationships? Were they all like super charismatic or maybe a bit emotionally unavailable? Pinpoint those recurring traits.
Right, right. And then the article says to figure out what parts of those relationships were painful or made you want to, like, run for the hills. Was it a constant need for reassurance? Maybe a lack of communication? Pinpointing those less than ideal aspects is key, it sounds like. Yeah?
Exactly, because those painful parts, those are the things you want to avoid in future relationships. It's like learning from your mistakes, right? So you don't keep repeating the same cycle. It's like hitting the reset button.
Got it, got it. So step one is all about looking back before moving forward. Makes sense. What's next on the relationship repair checklist?
Okay, so step two is all about figuring out what you really need in a partner. And get this, it emphasizes the importance of meeting those needs yourself first. Because apparently we tend to be drawn to people who provide what we're missing. Like if you crave security, you might be drawn to someone super attentive.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like filling your own cup first, so you're not looking for someone else to do it for you?
Precisely. Because the article argues that needing something from someone isn't the same as genuinely liking them for who they are. You're drawn to them initially because they fill a need, but then later that need becomes a source of frustration.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like needing constant reassurance can quickly turn into feeling smothered, right? It's like the very thing you were initially drawn to becomes the thing that pushes you away. So how do we like self-satisfy those needs? Any practical tips?
Well, the article suggests really taking some time for introspection. Think about those things you've been seeking in others. Can you find ways to cultivate those qualities within yourself? Like if you're looking for validation, maybe focus on building your self-esteem. Or if you desire more excitement, you might take up a new hobby, something that makes you feel more adventurous. If you're enjoying this deep dive into relationship dynamics, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to unpack.
Ooh, I like that. It's about taking control of your own happiness instead of relying on someone else to provide it. Empowering stuff. So look inward, address your needs, and then what's the next step in breaking these dating patterns?
All right, so step three is all about shaking things up, literally. The article points out how we often end up with similar people because, well, we're always in the same environments doing the same things.
Right, right. Like if you're always hitting the same bars, you're going to keep meeting the same byflies. So what's the solution? Branch out?
Exactly. Step outside your comfort zone. Explore new hobbies, join new groups, go to different places. The article uses a fun example. If you're tired of meeting, say, artsy types at concerts, maybe try joining a hiking group. You might meet someone who's totally different from your usual type.
I love that. It's like expanding your dating pool by expanding your life pool. And you know what? If you're digging this conversation as much as we are, hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. We love hearing from you. So, recap, analyze past relationships, fulfill your own needs, try new things. What else does this article suggest for breaking free from these dating deja vus?
So we've been talking about this idea of always dating the same type of person, right? But this article brings up love at first sight. And, well, it's not as romantic as it sounds.
Oh, really? I've always thought there's something magical about that instant connection. What does the article say?
Well, it suggests that love at first sight might actually be linked to narcissism. We see something of ourselves, some idealized version of ourselves in the other person.
Whoa, so it's not really about them, but about us? That's a bit of a buzzkill?
Yeah, a little. It's like we project our own needs and desires onto this person, thinking that, if we get them, we get the idealized version of ourselves. Like they are the path to completing our ideal self.
That's a little self-centered, isn't it? So that spark we feel isn't necessarily a true connection, but more like a reflection of our own ego.
Exactly. And the article quotes the book Attached. It says we sometimes marry a fantasy, like we create this ideal partner in our minds and then try to fit the real person into that mold. We see them as we want them to be, not as they actually are.
Oh, like when you put someone on a pedestal and then they inevitably fall off.
Yeah. And that's why we keep falling for the same type. We're not attracted to the actual person, but to this projection, this fantasy we've created in our minds.
So what happens when, reality sets in, when we realize the person isn't actually who we thought they were?
Well, that's when the magic fades. The article suggests that as we get to know the real person with their flaws and imperfections, the illusion disappears. They can no longer fulfill that fantasy of our ideal self. It's no longer our ideal scenario. Hmm.
So love at first sight has an expiration date, kind of like those yogurts in the back of the fridge. If you're finding this conversation as eye-opening as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more relationship deep dives.
Ha! Exactly. But look, the article isn't saying that, lasting love is impossible. It's just saying that being aware of these patterns can help us make more conscious choices in our relationships.
Right, right. It's about being mindful, not mindlessly chasing a fantasy. So what does the article suggest we do with this information?
Well, it encourages self-reflection. Think about your past relationships. Do you see any patterns? What types of people are you drawn to? And, more importantly, why?
Yeah. It's like doing a relationship inventory, taking stock of what's worked, what hasn't, and what keeps repeating itself.
Precisely. And the article emphasizes that changing these patterns can actually change your whole life, not just your love life. It can be a catalyst for personal growth.
I like that. It's about more than just finding the one. It's about becoming a better version of yourself in the process. So to wrap this up, the article is essentially saying, don't get too caught up in the fairy tale. Real love is built, not magically found at first glance. And don't forget to let us know what your ideal type is in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Also, a huge thanks to all our amazing listeners for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. We'll catch you next time on Cheap Talk.
So we've been dissecting this whole dating the same person phenomenon, and it turns out it's not just some anecdotal quirk. There's actual science behind it. This study, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, followed people's relationships over time, and guess what? They found striking similarities in the personalities of consecutive partners.
Wait, really? So it's not just our imagination? There's data to back up this Groundhog Day dating experience?
Yep. And it gets even weirder. Another study, this one with rats, found that early experiences can shape preferences. They paired a specific scent with a reward, and eventually the scent alone triggered the same response. It's like Pavlov's dogs, but with romance.
Oh, interesting. So are you saying we're like Pavlov's daters? We get conditioned to associate certain traits or behaviors with positive feelings, and then we keep seeking those out, even if they're not necessarily healthy for us? If you're enjoying this deep dive into the science of attraction, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.
Exactly. And get this, our family dynamics play a role too. This research paper, published in Applied Psychology, explored the impact of fathers on their daughters' partner choices. And guess what? A positive relationship with dad often leads to seeking similar qualities in a partner. They can even choose someone with the same face.
Whoa. So dad's the blueprint? That's fascinating and a little freaky. Like, are we doomed to repeat our parents' relationship patterns? And what about those who don't want a partner like their dad?
Well, the research suggests that those who actively avoid partners resembling their fathers might have had less than ideal relationships with them. It's like a subconscious aversion. But don't worry, it's not all predetermined. There's this idea of compulsive repetition, where we recreate painful scenarios to re-experience certain emotions, but we can break free. And, if you've ever felt trapped in a relationship rut, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your story.
Compulsive repetition. So, like, if your first love was a jealous type, you might subconsciously keep choosing partners who trigger those same feelings. It's like we're drawn to the familiar, even if it hurts. How do we escape that cycle?
Well, Barrels and Barrels Dijkstra's work on relationship patterns suggests self-awareness is key. Understanding why you're drawn to certain types is the first step. And don't forget to follow us for more insightful conversations on love and relationships. We're here to help you navigate the messy, beautiful world of human connection. So we've been digging deep into this whole dating the same person thing, and it's fascinating how often it happens, right? It's like, are we doomed to repeat our relationship history? Totally. It's almost spooky sometimes. You meet someone new, sparks fly, and then bam, you realize they're kind of, sort of just like your last ex. It's like, haven't I been here before? Exactly. And this article we're looking at, Love at First Sight or Friends First, dives into some of the research behind this. Turns out there's some serious science to back up this whole Groundhog Day dating experience.
Oh, really? So it's not just us being relationship challenged, there's actual data? Tell me more. Hit me with the science.
Okay, so this study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships tracked people's partners over time. And guess what? They found striking similarities in the personalities of consecutive partners. Like, whoa.
Whoa is right. So it's not just our imagination. We are drawn to the same type of person over and over again. Fascinating. But why? What's the explanation?
Well, another study, this one by Montoya and Horton, highlights the role of cognitive evaluation in attraction. Basically, we're drawn to people who we see as similar to ourselves, or maybe even an idealized version of ourselves. It's like we're looking in a mirror, kind of.
Oh, interesting. So that initial spark, that love at first sight feeling, isn't necessarily about them, but about how we see ourselves reflected in them? That's a little egotistical, isn't it? If you're as intrigued by this as we are, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're unpacking the science of attraction one episode at a time.
Ha, maybe a little. But it makes sense, right? We project our desires, needs, even our insecurities onto this new person and see our ideal self. But then reality sets in, and the more we get to know the real them, the more the illusion fades, because people can't live up to those ideals forever.
So, love at first sight has an expiration date, kind of like that carton of milk in the back of your fridge. What about those relationships that start as friendships? Does this article talk about that?
Yeah, it explores the idea of friends first versus love at first sight, and it seems like those built on friendship tend to be stronger because there's already a foundation of, shared values, trust, understanding. It's not based on this fleeting projection. They're no longer our ideal scenario. They become our reality.
Right, right. It's like you know the person, flaws and all, and you still choose them. It's not about fireworks, it's about compatibility. And if you're a fan of evidence-based relationship advice, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We're breaking down the complexities of love, one cheap talk at a time. So, to wrap things up, what's the key takeaway here?
Well, it's all about self-awareness, understanding why you're drawn to certain types of people, and recognizing that sometimes that initial spark might be more about you than them. It's about being mindful, not just mindlessly following those butterflies. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Cheap Talk, and special thanks to our incredible listeners who make this podcast possible. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with your friends. We'll see you next time.
Catch you later.